Hey guys, Lar here. Welcome to Square Table Discussions, where the opinions are definitely about 90 degrees separated from each other. Probably guaranteed. I got Diabetes Ninja with me.
Top of the morning.
Got Justice with me.
Hey.
And I just wanted to pose a very simple question. What game do you guys love that you know deep down is a steaming pile of dog shit? Let's start with you, Ninja.
I want to start by saying that of the three of us, I probably have the most questionable taste and am not averse to playing bad games. I'm probably a connoisseur of bad games.
Yeah, he does a speed run of Fighters Mega Mix, so...
Fighters Mega Mix is the best game on Sega Saturn.
What were you about to say? Fucking Knuckles Chaotix?
That's 32X, huh?
Was not even on Saturn, it was on 32X, yeah.
Fighting Vipers?
It's really good.
That was a Saturn game, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Fighters Mega Mix is literally fighting Vipers with Virtual Fighter characters.
Shameless plug of our other current ongoing projects aside, I think that if I were going to name the least quality game that I've ever loved, it would actually probably be Fester's Quest for the NES. To be honest, I was a child, and I basically was allowed one game for my birthday and one game for Christmas. It was my birthday, and I basically picked it based on the strength of the cover art. If you guys have never seen the cover for Uncle Fester's Quest for the Nintendo, it is great, and you can see why it would appeal to like a 9-year-old kid.
Who likes really old black and white TV shows, apparently.
Oh, well, see, that's what's funny is not familiar with the source material whatsoever, had never seen an episode of The Addams Family. So in the intervening years, I've come to realize that it is not at all, the game has nothing to do with the source material. So what's actually funny is in the game you end up fighting a bunch of aliens who invade Earth. That is conspicuous by its absence in the show at all. But yeah, so...
I'm trying to remember the show, and that could have been a plot in an episode, to be honest.
Okay.
It's a little out there for
Well,
them.
so what Uncle Fester
I haven't seen many episodes.
has not done ever in the show is left his house with a blunderbuss and decided to go and shoot a bunch of things.
Would have made the show a lot better.
Oh... Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But basically, I loved the game.
No, wait a minute. So the questions we want to answer here is why do you love the game, and what holds the game back? That's basically where we're coming from, because what reasons does it give you to love it despite what holds it back, and what is really holding it back?
Okay, now, game design-wise...
With Fester's Quest, though, I'd imagine the second one has a long list.
Well, okay, now, what's actually great about this game is that the game doesn't tell you how to play it at all. And it tries to be a Swiss Army game. There are... it drops you in different perspectives. It switches the controls on you. Your weapons are terrible, and you move around about the speed of molasses dripping down a slanted surface. You're pretty much helpless, and you can get upgradable weapons that are marginally better at helping you not die, but it's really challenging. Now, what I relished in that challenge as a kid for some reason, and I think that the reason why is because I was only allowed 2 games a year. And I think that it not being an immediate finish helped sell the game for me. And it being a Swiss Army game, it made me feel like I was playing several different games in one. And if you're going to ask me, now that I understand games a little bit better, which parts of it stand the test of time, the intro theme song, I still champion to this day. Strangely enough, a lot of people actually agree with my assessment. IGN ranked it the 45th best NES game ever. Strangely enough,
We're gonna have to cut you off. If you're quoting IGN to make your argument better, then it's time we find another argument.
no, listen. It's divisive. This game is divisive. Games Radar instead ranked it the 73rd worst NES game ever. So mixed reviews everywhere. Strangely, though, based on probably the cover art, it sold 1 million copies.
Even for the Nintendo, that's
It probably also sold a lot of copies
pretty middle of the road.
just for the fact that it has a tie into the Addams Family.
Well, okay.
Which, I mean, but in the 90s, had to have been on the way out by that point.
Well, I mean, you didn't have a lot of 90s, I guess.
Well, the game released in 1989. I don't know. I haven't really looked at a sales chart or nothing like that.
I was gonna say you didn't have a lot of like game advertising at the time, so families just kind of bought whatever they saw, and they were like, "Oh, hey, I know that." And when you have like the Addams Family on something,
yeah,
you're gonna pick up a lot of sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's basically my pick, and I think that it was helped by the fact that I had scant choices, and I think that it landed at a point in my life where I was the most highly impressionable, because I think that we each have like a window where we are the most susceptible to suggestion in the form of entertainment, and whenever you're like 9, like I was in 1989, I think that you're not closed-minded, and your quality standards are not as high, maybe. Now, I'm not picky now, like, 30 years later, I'm still not picky, so maybe I just wasn't picky as a kid, but I still think that it arrived at the height of my optimism and the height of my tolerance.
Well, we're happy you're happy with it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I get so nostalgic. Like, it's a real hard game. It's a badge of honor. If you can ever beat Fester's Quest, you got my respect.
I'll believe that. Justice, how you doing?
Well, I probably liked a lot of games that weren't very good or well received on the PlayStation 1 specifically. Largely for the same reason, I think, that I would only get a game every now and then, and like when I got a new game, I'd play the shit out of it.
Right. We all did that as kids.
The Game Boy Advance and the DS a little bit as well, because those were cheap and you could just pick them up. But the only one right now that comes to mind is, I know it's not a shitty game by any means. I don't think anybody says it is. But I know that Parasite Eve 2 was not well received. They changed up the formula a lot. People felt like it was kind of uninspired, like it was trying to be Resident Evil, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
There are definitely some oversights with how the enemies behave that do not work with how the camera behaves.
Right.
Do you remember if the same creative team behind the first one was still present, or if they had had a switch in creative direction?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it was a complete shift in gameplay. Parasite Eve 1 was like you would run around in real time and dodge real time attacks, but it had like an active turn timer, and when that came up, you would pause, select your actions, and do them on like a...
It reminds me of a slower paced Secret of Mana.
Kind of reminds me of Transistor, if anybody's played that.
I need to.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Good game, by the way. And the second one was a lot more like Resident Evil. It had tank controls, which threw a lot of people through a loop, because the first one didn't have tank controls, I believe.
I don't think so, no.
I've played it recently, but I haven't played the second one recently. But the second one had tank controls. It had this, the Resident Evil... It was like Resident Evil, except you could select from a menu of not magic that you could throw around.
Yeah.
Parasite energy or something.
The original had it, but it made more sense than the original.
Yeah, the original had it, but it was more of a turn-based thing. And I will say, actually, I think that the second game did those powers better.
All right, now, do you feel like the second one arrived at a time whenever you were more highly impressionable than the first game? And did you play them chronologically in the order?
No, I played the second one first, actually.
Okay. And so you actually may have been predisposed to be preferential to the...
Well, I love Resident Evil.
Okay.
But I think they're both really good games. I think that the fact that the second one would try to be so different and kind of... I can see, stepping back now and looking at it, why it wasn't well received. It has a lot of problems. And it has a great variety of enemies, but it tries to use the claustrophobic camera angles of like the Resident Evil games. And a lot of the enemies don't work well with it. They'll just slap your ass off screen. Like, you won't even see an enemy. You'll just hear a noise and then you'll take damage.
To me, that feels like a Resident Evil thing, too.
All of the enemies in Resident Evil, for the most part, were very slow.
Oh, gotcha.
So you almost always had time to see them.
They are not slow in Parasite Eve 2.
They are not. They're one of the main types of enemies you're going to fight is like this fucking horse person. And one of their attacks is they just fucking charge you. They sprint directly at you and hit you. And if, like, you don't know that they're doing that because, I don't know, they're off screen or something, you just take that hit. You just hold the L.
But you think the fact that it's so close to Resident Evil is what drew you in?
Yeah, and it was something it took Resident Evil and gave it new elements I appreciated. The fucking magic energy was awesome.
Yeah.
The plot was... I didn't care about it at the time that much. The characters were interesting. I liked Aya. Everybody likes Aya. She's great.
Aya?
Aya? Is it Aya? I don't know.
You know, I looked up the
She was not supposed to be the main character.
I looked up the katakana
of
for
the
it at one
second
point,
game.
but I forgot which way it was, so...
That's the other thing. The second game was actually supposed to be a spin-off, apparently.
Okay, so did the second one prevent you from organically experiencing the first one because
Not in
of...
any way. No. I experienced both those games, I would say, about... I don't know. I didn't have a lot of predispositions going into playing the first one after I played the second one. And
Which one's better?
Better or preferred?
see, preferred-wise, I'd have to say neither. I like them both about equally, but I have to say, if I could step back, the first one's a better, more complete, well-put-together game.
I was just curious. Everybody here agrees that Third Birthday is garbage.
Yeah, they need to make a third one.
I would love a third Parasite Eve. Holy crap, what even was Third Birthday?
I don't know. I haven't played 2 in a while. I need to. I haven't played 1...
Do I have it?
I haven't played 1 in like a year or so.
I don't have it. Oh, we,
And I'm not going to say I might be playing it again soon, but I might.
Yeah. You last played it with me, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I know when that was.
Also, another thing, I've never done the Chrysler Building. I need to do that.
Hell yeah.
Is it called the Chrysler Building?
Yeah, it takes place in New York. The Chrysler Building is post-game. It's like a 100-floor challenge.
Did they license the name Chrysler Building?
They're Square in the 90s. They can license.
They licensed the name Coca-Cola. That's in the game. Coca-Cola machines are in the game.
Am I now learning that Diabetes Ninja has never played Parasite Eve?
We never discussed it before, so I had no reason to tell you that I hadn't.
Wow, you're missing the fuck out.
It is, I will say, definitively right now, Parasite Eve 1 is one of the best games on the PlayStation. In my opinion, the best. But objectively, probably not the best, but it's definitely up there.
I think you can even say objectively, Parasite Eve 1 gets top 20 on
Easily.
the system.
Oh, top 20, easily.
Now, I mean, we could argue about how high up. It might actually just be 20, but I know you appreciate RPGs. So it's a really interesting spin on all that you do not get anywhere else. It's absolutely worth seeking out.
You know, I think that there was just a glut of
It's especially
great
worth
games.
seeking out because it's right there.
Yeah.
Well, I think at the time there was a glut of great games.
Yes.
I was 18 and could only afford 5 or 6 games a year. Now, I had started buying games on my own with money that I earned at jobs that I worked at. However, That isn't the same thing as GameStop having been invented yet and being able to buy used games for $8. That was still a bunch of years off. Still,
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think. Like,
we
this
still had
is the-
Babbage's.
this is
Babbage's, you could buy full-priced games.
this is the time frame when like, Bushido Blade was coming out. Final Fantasy 7 and 8 were coming out. 9 wasn't quite out yet, I don't think.
Oh, I like Final Fantasy 8. A lot of people
What's
shit on that game.
what's the other one? The strategy RPG that Square did.
Final Fantasy Tactics?
No,
Ogre
but that'd be
Tactics
around
Battle?
that time.
Ogre Tactics.
Front,
It'd
did,
be after
did they do
that.
Front Mission?
No, I'm thinking of
No, they didn't. Who did Front Mission?
That was Namco or something, right? No, Front Mission. No, that was
Saga,
Square.
I'm thinking of Saga Frontier. That's when Saga Frontier got on PlayStation.
Oh, is that a strat? I don't know. Strat's what I would.
I'm not super familiar with it, so I might be mislabeling it a little bit. But there were a lot of good RPG options.
Well, there was a
when Parasite
glut.
Eve came
Like I
out.
said, and I was
Xeno-
limited means.
Xenogears.
Well, you know what I was actually playing at that time? I was playing a bunch of Star Ocean and a bunch of Chrono Cross. Please bring out another Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross is great.
You know what? I think that was also...
Star Ocean is probably top 10 PS1 games.
I think even back then, another reason that I liked the Parasite Eve... like Parasite Eve 1 so much was the fact that it just... There wasn't anything like it, I don't think.
Yeah, I think you'd appreciate it, especially in hindsight, knowing that nobody else picked up on what it was doing.
There's still very little out there like it. I would compare Transistor to it, but I can't compare anything else.
And also, the theme and story are unique.
Yeah?
And it's
based on a book, to be fair.
It's based off a book, but the actual original plot that the game has, because it's a sequel to the book, was like rejected Final Fantasy VII ideas.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
And it kind of shows through. Plus, Final Fantasy VII was going to take place in New York at one point in development.
That's fun. That's a fun fact right there.
So the assets used in Parasite Eve are assets that were animated with the idea that it'd be a Final Fantasy game.
The assets in Parasite Eve 2 will give you nightmares. Do you ever want to watch a person
yeah,
mutate
that's-
into a camel thing?
Final Fantasy VII is so good that its rejected ideas turned into Parasite Eve and Xenogears. Xenogears is the script that almost became Final Fantasy VII.
I need to actually play Xenogears.
You do.
I'm
It's
told it's super good.
probably my favorite RPG on the system. And I really love Star Ocean too. I'm not trying
Well-
to take away from that.
What's your favorite bad RPG on the system?
Star Ocean 3.
Can we call it a bad game?
No, it's fucking garbage.
We talking about Till the End of Time?
Yes.
I love that game.
I love that game, but see, here's the deal.
No, I love the shit out of that game.
The story is ass.
Yeah,
No. Here we go.
the story's ass.
The story is ass, and you don't care. The voice acting is ass.
I cared about the story before I knew what the story was going to be.
Yes. Oh, do you
The
know
voice acting's so bad. Oh
Do
my
you,
god.
do you remember? Do you remember the ending, or have you seen the ending?
I know the ending. I don't think I actually ever beat the game.
All right.
I do love the game.
We won't spoil it here, but
I had a
do not-
problem at that time that I didn't really beat a lot of games.
Yeah, do not hold out that the story will be good at the ending. It will not. The voice acting is garbage, and they're great voice actors. We're talking Steve Bloom, Wendy Lee, Crispin Freeman,
Clark, was she in there?
Leia Clark.
Yeah.
She's in there. She's Mina.
Yeah.
No, Fina. That's it. She's Fina, and I hate having to listen to her.
Oh god, it's bad.
So, one of the earliest mods I did on my PlayStation 2, and it's on top in its own case, I still have these discs from when I was a teen, is somebody made a mod of Star Ocean 3 on PS2 that took out all the English voice acting and put back in the Japanese.
Right, because there's not a setting for it. You can't change it.
Yeah, but it kept all the English dialogue. So you're still getting the English script. You're not getting a 1-1 translation, but you could just hear it acted, at least in a foreign language, so you don't hear if it's bad or not. Which, if I remember correctly, it's actually pretty acted well. And the data works. I could go between English and Japanese with the same data. It's super cool.
In the comments section, leave a comment about whether or not voice acting is a hang-up of yours. I don't care about voice acting. It has never impacted my...
So mediocre voice acting, I can get around if the game is good. Bad voice acting can either take from a game or make it unintentionally excellent.
But In addition to the voice acting, though, the animations are crap. It looks worse than Star Ocean 1 and 2. Star Ocean...
You kind of have to be selective with that. I feel like some of the animations are fine. Some of the animations are pretty good.
Most of them are not good.
And then some of the like when you stop moving, your character shuffles their feet for a couple of minutes. Can we run a clip of that?
A lot of, I hope so, a lot of reused animations.
Okay, now, the thing is, though, this is PlayStation 2 era.
Yes.
Were their competitors outshining them in any of those departments?
Final Fantasy X, yes.
Okay. If you put Final Fantasy X in a class...
It's not even a blue back, so it's not even like a launch title of the system or anything. Like, Star Ocean did not come out at the start, but it really looks like it was a PS1 game that they tried to shove on a PS2 for no reason.
Okay, but...
Is the game not well received?
It was...
Hobo, let us know.
I feel like it's pretty universal. Like, people universally enjoy it, I feel like. From the people I talk to.
And see, here's the deal. This is why it's good. This is the positive about it. The battle system is
the gameplay
the charts.
is again one of those things that, at least at the time, you didn't get.
Good. So crafting feels good, but that's from 2. So
I crafted for days.
So we're not going to credit 3 for doing something that they just literally stole from 2. What I will credit for 3 for was it was like, hey, you know that battle system for 2? What if it was like an actual fighting game?
Yeah, what if you didn't just go through menus in your RPG? What if you went through menus outside of fights in your RPG, but when you were in a fight, you actually had to like fight? It's
fluid, and
all the characters
feels
feel different.
Good. All the characters are really different.
I guess to be fair, also the Tales games do this, don't they?
Yeah, but Tales is like on a most of them. I haven't played all of them, but most of them are on like a plane, to where it's like a 2D fighter that's overcrowded.
Oh.
Especially the old ones. With Star Ocean 3, even Star Ocean 2 did this. You're in a 3D space and you can run in the foreground and background and, move around people. You can't really do that in 1.
You got a backstab.
The backstab stat's great. The battle system's so good. It's the single reason to play the game.
The characters had unique skills. They all felt different when you played them.
The customization in that game is ridiculous.
It was.
That's why you stay. But then it's like, you get into a dungeon, and the dungeons are
oh
fucking
my god!
garbage.
Actually, no, you're absolutely right. I keep thinking of like my warm, fuzzy memories of this game, but then I remember going into a dungeon, which is a significant portion of the game.
And
probably spend half the game in a dungeon and half the game in a cutscene.
Let's talk about that too. Actually, how about I have to decide before I start the game if I want to be allowed to skip cutscenes, and then I have
to decide before I see the cutscene if I can skip it. Or not.
And then in addition to I have to decide if I'm allowed to skip cutscenes, I have to decide if I want to skip the cutscene before I see the cutscene. And once I start seeing it, it's too late. I'm not allowed to skip it. Who thought that was cool?
I don't know. We didn't actually talk about the dungeons either. The dungeons are terrible.
Yeah, remember that one good dungeon?
They are maze-like. They look exactly the same all over. They are fucking monotonous.
They are the opposite problem of Final Fantasy 13.
And that there's too
much shit going on. They're not a hallway. I don't know where I'm going.
Well,
It's got the same like weird rock jazz keyboard sounds.
Oh god.
I kind of
Can we play that?
I kind of love that song if I can only hear it for 2 minutes and then I ever hear it again. But it's like when you first meet Cliff.
It's straight up elevator music. No, wait, hold on.
It's got more going for it than that, but like it just gets monotonous. Like when you first meet Cliff and you're in those ruins, it's fucking drones because you're in there for 2 hours, and then do not get me started on like that castle.
The one with Abel?
Yes, the first one with Abel, where you have to go save Nil, and she's trying to save Fina, and you're in there for fucking ever.
See, I feel like that one too, like you walk into it and you're like, oh hey, this dungeon actually looks a little different. It's got like this medieval theme to it. This is refreshing. And then it immediately becomes unrefreshing about like 3.5 hours into that dungeon. The fucking turtle minecart puzzles.
Dude, oh my fucking god.
I
forgot about that.
God, the dungeons are so bad.
Oh.
The combat's so good.
Oh.
The combat's so good, but the dungeon's so bad.
And the fields are uninspired.
Yeah, but I was fine with that.
Yeah, but they want me to explore 100% of it,
yeah.
So I'm not fine with it. and then
I
you
think
never know what you
I
can.
explored 100%
I
of
have
one of the
no-
maps,
okay.
got the reward, was like, that's a lot of money, and I'm never doing it again.
I have never in my life seen a map so fucking empty, but then did not have the ability to be able to walk 100% of the map.
Yeah.
Even though it's all right there in front of me, and it's not like you're hiding it from
I
me.
think it really suffered from they wanted you to explore, like 100% explore the map, but they didn't really give you incentives because the map wasn't interesting. So why would you explore it?
So all these points against it, right? And the battle was so good, and you kind of start liking the characters. And the characters are not super deep, but you kind of fell for Fate.
Oh,
and then
Cliff, man.
And then Cliff's my boy. Cliff literally is just like, I'm gonna get
Nell's a
mad.
badass.
Nell's a badass.
Is anybody into that chick that holds the little stick with the hand at the end of it?
Welch, she's
Yeah.
cool. You
Well,
know,
Roger's a little annoying, but I like him.
I don't like Roger, but he's fine. He doesn't bring down the game, so
Roger's very much the Kate Sith of this game.
yeah, but he's useful. You're replaying Final Fantasy VII right now, so you'll get the case
Yeah.
soon, and you'll remember why you don't remember him.
Do you guys think of the last boss of Till the End of the Time as being generic seeming?
I
A
don't.
lot of the game felt generic.
The final boss of Disc 2, I never got through all Disc 2. I love the game. Every now and then I'll pop it in.
Yeah, so wait, hold on. Neither of us have beat this game.
No, never beat this game. I just have.
No.
See, here's the deal, though. I'll get through most of Disc 1, and then realize I've had enough of the fighting engine, and I fucking hate this game.
Yeah, because that really does carry it, right? The gameplay
Right.
is so fucking fun, but you have to go through this slog to get to the gameplay, and eventually, like, the gameplay is not quite as fun.
And the last time,
no.
and the last time I played it, I got stuck on that fairy fuck in the mountains when you're trying to go into the, the lava pit, because you're supposed to just bomb them. Is the strat, but I don't have any bombs and I have no supplies. And I tried backtracking, and apparently, apparently you're not allowed to leave the dungeon, no matter how far back you go, because like a pterodactyl carried you over there, and he won't carry you back, so you're just stuck. What a good dungeon design! Fuck you, Tri-Ace?
Yep.
Yeah, Fuck you, Tri-Ace. It was. I mean, Bridge Hobo threw up the score a minute ago, but I'm pretty sure it was the lowest scoring Star Ocean until, 5 happened.
Yeah, but does it have a following? Do people like it?
I
say
think
yes.
everybody likes the humor, because it had this weird thing of jokes. It had this weird joke structure that people kind of appreciate, ironically, and then everybody loves the battle system, but I don't think people talk about it anymore.
It is an easy game to make fun of.
I think when the PS3 happened, people stopped giving a shit. But it lasted through the PS2's lifespan pretty...
Everybody I know has played it.
The post-game content is real good.
I'm gonna have to take your word for that. Also, I think me and Laura are just gonna have to play through it again at some point.
I tried playing through it with Morty a year or two ago, and I discovered that exploit where at the beginning of the game you just have the guy throw
my money!
and now I
My
just
money!
leave that on for 2 nights while I'm at work and come back
If you
am
beat one of the rich dudes down
fucking
toward the
rich.
edge of his life, he'll just keep throwing money at you.
so now I
It'll
can.
keep throwing money at you.
What's that expensive wine item that you can ever afford?
Yeah, if you buy it in the
I
first stage of
own-
the game, you can sell it later on for fucking billions.
I own 4 of those now. I will never want for anything in the game.
It's a pretty good get rich slow scheme.
So, I'm not gonna lie, if I ever replay the game, which we should, I'm kind of talking myself into wanting to replay it, but I'm gonna play it with a guide so I can get through the dungeons quickly. I'm gonna exploit the shit out of that.
God, those dungeons.
And I might use a guide for some of the crafting. I don't know.
Legitimately some of the worst dungeon design I've ever
There's no
played.
way I'm going through a dungeon fucking off memory again. Never.
No, it's so bad.
Oh, man. But, yeah, so we got Star Ocean 3 for me. Justice is picking Parasite Eve 2. And you picked Fester's Quest. I can say without a doubt Fester's Quest
Damn,
is the
there's a
worst of the bunch.
sliding scale there.
Bro,
Like Parasite Eve 2, not a shitty game, but kind of poorly received.
Parasite Eve 2 is the best game of this trio, for sure.
Damn right it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Much like Parasite Eve 1 is the best game on the PlayStation.